Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Brother Minister Cepeda. If by chance you are new to the channel, please be encouraged to visit my website at treeoflifeoutreach.com. Familiarize yourself with the bios, guys. That's why I send requests that individuals go there, because this thing that's most commonly referred to as God is still real, still on the throne, still performing miracles just like he did way back in the Bible days and before. So I'm living, breathing evidence of that. So check out my website at treeoflifeoutreach.com. Pass that word of encouragement along to someone you know that may be going through some trying times, that perhaps they're considering giving up. Don't ever do that. God is still real. Whatever you refer to him as being, he's still real. So it's actually a holistic ministry where what I've designed and created and operate for the purpose of providing you guys with nourishment for your mind, your body, and your spirit. So thanks for tuning in today. Definitely hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and we're going to take straight off into this today's topic, which is the false self. Yeah, we're about to go there. This is the false self. And I'm pretty sure that some of you watching this, if you pull the curtains back on yourself, you can realize that perhaps there's some things, and maybe even perhaps there's you in your entirety that's been actually living the false self. So we're going to break this down. I try not to be too long-winded, guys, when it comes to these type of videos, but I do make that commitment to allowing my Heavenly Father to lead me. And in the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when I'm led by my Heavenly Father, then that means if I crush your foot, then all you can do, all I can tell you, if I crush your foot, is go get a podiatrist and get it fixed. That's all I can tell you. In other words, not up to me. So, unfortunately, guys, we have a huge number of people who have committed and created a false self. And what makes that even that much more sadder is that a false person, if you're a false person, you can't be real to nobody or nothing. You can't be real to your kids. You can't be real to your parents, your co-workers, your spouse. It's impossible. Now, don't sit there and create a false narrative and try to wiggle your way out of it, because that's like saying, "Oh, this is a false egg, but when I put it in the pot with the rest of the eggs, or when I put it on the plate and I dress it up, it's gonna be a real egg." I don't care how you slice it. If you are a false person with yourself, you can't be real with nobody else. You can do all the things that maybe a real person would do, but that don't make you real. Because I can dress that egg up, those flowers up, I could spray paint those flowers and put a scent on them and poke them, stick them out there in the yard with the rest of the roses. At the end of the day, if it's a false rose, doesn't matter how I paint it, doesn't matter what I do to it. So it's time for a chin checking. It's time for us to grab ourselves by the bootstraps and pull ourselves up, if this is something that we have been partaking in any area of our lives. Because if you're a false person through and through, then you can't be real with nobody through and through, period. You can't be real with them, period. But if you just a little bit of a false person, well, then you've been a little bit of a false person to your kids, your spouse, and so forth and so on. So we gotta get that up out of us. And I get it. It's been bred into us. It's been taught to us, and it's actually being killed. Society, there's this push to submerge, or excuse me, to basically totally eliminate any semblance of originality and authenticity. How dare you come to this job? How dare you come to this church, this park, this dance hall, whatever it is, and be you? That's not what we about. Everybody do this dance. Everybody dress like this. Everybody talk like that. We laugh at jokes when people say them, whether they're funny or not. We smile in the face of people that we don't like just because that's what everybody do. How dare you come in here and be yourself? So you just gonna be you, huh? So it's been drowned out. I get it. It's been drowned out. It's been killed. And there always has been a very coldly calculated effort to do this. Why? Because the powers that be, if everybody is being themselves, then they have to come up with a plan for James, Charles, Carl, Lucy, Charlotte, Benjamin, Raphael, Tina, Chris. They got to come up with all these different game plans because everybody is being themselves. But if everybody's not being themselves and everybody is going along to get along, then they just need one game plan. We know how they're going to react. They're all going to react the same. So it's time for us to do some chin checking, and we have to be willing to stand up and take whatever lumps and bruises are necessary for us to just be true. I mean, and again, I get it. We've all been taught from the very beginning to go along to get along. We was taught that by our parents. We teach that to our kids. You let your kid ask you something and you don't, because I said so, that's what you're going to tell them. Mom, is you sure that's right? Dad, are you sure that's right? Don't question me. I've been on this earth longer than you, and this and that and that and this. So we are programmed. Like you program your cell phone or your remote control. We've been programmed. I get it. But we don't have to stay that way. You're not truly a fool until you wake up to the fact that you are one and choose to remain there. People could have been playing you like a fool, and you could have been living a foolish lifestyle or whatnot. But once that knowledge was presented to you, and then you don't change, that's when you officially become that. Other than that, you wasn't that. You just were someone that was playing a role of that. And there is a difference. Scarface ain't Scarface. Al Pacino ain't Scarface like he was in the movie, but he played the role of that. So here is an opportunity for you to go within and do some house cleaning. Or, there are people who just, just stand, that their old saying, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is beautiful. It's wonderful, because of ignorance, you don't have to deal with all that stuff that's painful, that's challenging, that's actually truthful and tears down your world of dreams and illusions. Why would you want to wake up and do that? Because there's something at stake, and that's called your eternal soul. If you think that when your body is finished and your body go back to the dust from which it came, you think that's over for you, boy, this video or nothing I put on YouTube ain't for you. So I would think that all of my subscribers and viewers and anybody else watching this video is at least learned enough to know that this body is just a vessel. It's just it's no more, this body is no more me than your car is you when you step in your car. You step in your car, it takes you somewhere. Your soul, the real you, got in this body, and it takes you somewhere. A guy that does deep sea diving, he has to get into a certain suit so that he can survive and maneuver in those underwater elements. So we needed a suit so we could walk this earth and experience this thing called life. And what has happened, sadly, is we have gotten here and got caught up in our emotions and money and work and all these different things, including relationships. We done got caught up in all these different things, and we have mistaken the menu for being the actual food. So that should be motivation enough for you to decide that, you know what, I need to be me. And if you're one of those people who just ain't worried about, well, you'll deal with hell or heaven or whatever, you'll just deal with it once that time comes. If you're one of those people, then that's your right to make that choice. That's what I'll say about that. But if you're one of those people who concerned about the destination, they got the saying that don't worry about the destination, just enjoy the ride. And I'm thinking to myself, how blind does a person have to be to go for that? So the destination is them taking you out to the woodshed and chopping you up. But they're gonna drive you from Chicago to New York, and it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be beautiful, and gonna make a lot of quality stops and meet some celebrities along the way. Don't worry about the destination, just enjoy the ride. Okay. So if you're one of those kind of people, hey man, listen, that's your choice. And that would be the choice that you would be making if you decide, having watched this video, knowing that you have not been the real you, and you decide that you're going to remain that way, then so be it. You keep on enjoying that ride. And when it's time for you to meet your maker, you'll realize, man, that little whatever time, if you live to be 500 years of age, you're going to realize that little time spent on earth was a lot less than a twinkling of an eye when it comes to eternity. And you sat there and chose that twinkling of an eye. You enjoyed the ride. I think you're better than that. I think there's something in you that's pulling on you and that's tugging on you, that's telling you, no, you don't want to make that error. See, don't make temporary decisions that you know are going to have a permanent outcome. You made a temporary decision that's going to affect something that involves permanency. No, we're smarter than that. We're sharper than that. Get back to being you. Get back to being you. And maybe you aren't what society would call sexy. Maybe you ain't. Maybe you ain't what society would call a fly guy. Maybe you ain't what society says that somebody is cool and hip and attractive and talented and all these different things. But you don't derive your value from what society says. That's a mistake anyway. Because no matter what society says, you are beautiful. Our Heavenly Father don't make no mistakes. And if He wanted everybody to look a certain way and have a certain shape and a certain build, that's what He would have did. It's meant for some people to be what we call fat, overweight, some people to have big noses, some people to be cross-eyed, some people to have whatever. Our Heavenly Father don't make mistakes. But we have been taught to look at ourselves and, man, if I was only a little bit taller, if my butt was just a little bit bigger, if my teeth wasn't so big, all these different things. Our Heavenly Father don't make mistakes. You are beautiful. And you need to, if you look in the mirror and that's not what you see, that's not your definition of beauty, then you know you need to go within yourself, because once again, you have let society tell you what beautiful is. And you're deriving your own value, your own sense of beautiful based on what society has said. Because society said, wow, you see that girl over there? You see that guy over there? You see them on that magazine? That's what beauty looks like. You don't need them to be beautiful. You're beautiful. And you perfect. Just the way you are. Whatever there is about you that you cannot change, it's meant to be that way. Obviously, guys may want to get bigger. Guys may want to lose weight, run faster, whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the cosmetic things about us that are not changeable. You are perfect. And even if you are overweight, or what society says overweight. See, just think about that. Society says overweight. But there's no overweight if you perfect. When you go to my website, read through the bio and click. Once you go read the bio, scroll down, read the services, and then at the bottom of the services, it's going to tell you. There's a link for you to click to the physical fitness branch of the ministry, and on that ministry, that arm of the ministry, I am repetitively saying that fitness is not a one size fits all. You got people 100, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 365 pounds, but society has told them, well, you know what, they 350 pounds, so the gym ain't for them. What? It's ridiculous. So I typically throw in a lot of nuances, but they are relevant with the main course of the topic. So even if you are not what society says are beautiful, is beautiful, what society said is cool, you need to be you. Because whether you know it or not, society needs you to be you. Just think about it. We're living in a society where everybody is giving it their all to be exactly what they want to be, but ain't nobody trying to be who they really are. They putting all their energy into be who they want to be. And who you want to be is going to evolve, and you'll become that if it's meant for you to become that. But the only way it could become that to begin with, the only way it has a chance is by you walking in your authenticity. I have to politely and respectfully find the words to tell people, man, I'm trying to be like you, man. I want to be like you. How can I get arms like you? How can I have the drive that you have? And I do be polite and respectful, but it's also my duty to get the truth out there. Hey, man, you know what? If you become the best version of you, can't nobody stop you. That's how you're going to achieve your perfection, not by being like me. And I get it. We all have people that we admire, and success leaves clues. I get that. You want to mimic and walk the path that you know the successful ones walked, but that's different than saying, I want to be Michael Jordan. The old school saying is, the man who wants to conquer all men need only conquer the man within. So in other words, once you conquer you, once you walk in your authenticity, nobody can stop you, nobody can touch you. Doesn't matter how big, how strong, how much money they have. If you are walking in your authenticity, it's a wrap. Nothing can beat that. Nothing can even come close to even coming close to that. Your authenticity is is so much needed because we got a whole world to get back to my original opening statement. We got a whole world, not literally, but we got a vast majority of people who are they have committed suicide of their original self-suicide in order to fit in. And just think about that, because again, if you being fake from within, if you fake, then everything about you is fake. I don't care how much you love your spouse and your kids and your friends and your relatives and do the things that a person who loved their relatives and so forth would do. That doesn't mean it's genuine, because I can do all those things that I feed them, I take them to work, and I give them baths, and I love them, and I send them to college, or I give her diamond rings, whatever it may be. I can do all those things that a person would do if they love somebody. And my plan could be, well, once he reaches a certain age, or once I get him to a certain city, I'm gonna chop him up in 1,000 pieces. So love is not a deed. You can't confuse that, and you can't. It's literally impossible. If you live in a fake life from within, then you fake with everybody and everything. That's just the way it is, guys. And I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but sometimes I gotta step off up in y'all with some real truth. So let's get away from this nonsense, man. So what if you ain't cool? They got the song, I wish that I could be like the cool kids. Hey, don't get me wrong. Please get me right. Obviously, everybody likes having friends and like having an active social lives. As human beings, we're organically social creatures. But to fit in requires you to sacrifice you, then that's a grave error. I'm not preaching loneliness, and I'm not preaching separatism. I don't want a lot of people walking around being sad and no friends and no social life. That's not what I'm advocating. But I am advocating that if you have to commit suicide of yourself, you have to create a false self in order to fit in and have a social life, it ain't worth it. Because if you were to talk to, if just a fraction of those people who are out there being in the cool kids, they've all basically committed suicide of their original self so that they could fit in. They don't necessarily like them jeans or like them restaurants or like that club or like the people that they hanging out with. That's just what they do to fit in with the cool kids. No one wants to be themselves. They're so afraid to be alone and get to know themselves that they commit that inner suicide of themselves and they create a false self. Now, the world needs your authenticity. The world is begging for authenticity. And the fact of the matter is, if you're strong enough to stand up and be the real, true, 100% authentic you will inspire thousands, if not millions. Because people want that. Obviously, there's going to be that pushback, as previously mentioned. Who are you to walk in this club and just be you? To walk in this liquor store, to walk in this family reunion or whatever, and you got the audacity to just be you? There's going to be that. But if you are strong enough to push past that, remember, our Heavenly Father put most of the most beautiful things in life on the other side of pain. Whether it's having a baby, falling off a bike, winning a boxing championship, working hard for your career, whatever the sacrifices, our Heavenly Father put a vast majority of the most beautiful things in life on the other side of pain. So we got to be willing to go through that pain. So when you start, they're going to see you walking in your own authenticity. If it ain't funny, you don't laugh. You don't scratch where you don't itch. You don't dress like that, whatever. You're doing you. So obviously there's going to be an enormous amount of pushback and push against you to deter you and convince you to say, hey man, you see it's pretty lonely over there, ain't it? You don't like them rumors being said about you, do you? You don't like people walking in and rolling their eyes and people betraying you and all that. You don't like that, do you? Better get in with the in crowd. But I promise you, if you can push through and make it to the other side of that pain, you will inspire thousands, if not millions, because that's what everybody is looking for, they're craving for, and the same people that are spitting in your face and knifing in your back will be on the forefront commending you and asking for your forgiveness and so forth and so on. Because not only them, but all the rest of the people who are at the clubs and just can sense your authenticity and they start hating on you. They don't, because they gave up. They started out just like you. No one started off in the in crowd. Everybody is born with a unique personality, just like fingerprints. Everybody's personality is unique. No one started on the in crowd. But from going through school and steady growing up and even on the playground, you know, we pick up certain things subconsciously or subliminally, and by the time one is in their teenage years, they have made a choice that, hey man, I like having friends. I like not being considered the oddball. So if I have to dress like that, even though I don't want to, that's what I'm gonna do. If I have to laugh at the jokes that ain't funny, that's what they're. I mean, so at some point, we got to decide to say, hey man, look, the buck stops here, man. All of those people that are hating on you will be the same ones following you and clamoring to be around you, but you have to prove it first. You have to prove it that no matter what, you're going all the way in your authenticity. Because they, even though they're fighting against it, because it hurts them, because they gave up. They committed suicide of their inner selves a long time ago. And it disturbs them to see you walking in yours. So don't give up. And this is how you can change the world, because the world is begging for authenticity. Don't ever give up. Let the kid let them do what they do. And not only is the world looking and needing and begging and pleading for authenticity. Another fact is that your hopes, your dreams, the purpose for which you were given this suit called a body, it can only be attained, it can only be fulfilled, it can only even be revealed to you by you being your authentic self. Authentic. You have to be. There is a goal, there is design, there's hopes and dreams that you have, and they can only be fulfilled by you walking in your authenticity. I'm not talking about the goals that you chose by default. Your real goal was to be a park ranger. That was your real goal and calling in this life, to be a park ranger. And don't sneeze at that, because every piece of the puzzle is equally as important as the other pieces. Doesn't matter if that's a big piece to the puzzle over there and that's a beautiful color on the one right there, but that one's just small and don't really have no color to it. And it's so small, when you take it out of there, the puzzle ain't even complete. So you could have been, your goal and purpose could have been a park ranger, and you felt that and you knew that, but then you got talked out of that because, your mom said this, your dad said that, your friends said that, and you chose this other career by default. And you was very successful at that career. So that's now, I'm not talking about the careers and the path that you could choose by default. There's an old school saying that if you are not actively pursuing, let me, how can I say this? If you're not, put it like this, if you're not being authentic, you are committing spiritual suicide. That's just the way that is. Because our Heavenly Father created us from the Spirit. We are spirit beings. It's only when when they had that fall in what's commonly referred to as the Garden of Eden. When they had that fall, that's when we got this flesh and blood. We were all light. We didn't need no clothes. We was just light. Go read the scriptures. So we are spiritual beings, and when you are not walking in the authentic you, you're committing spiritual suicide. Don't worry about what it look like. Don't worry about what it feel like. Start getting back to you. There's a song out now called Return to Innocence. And that's what it's about. Look into your heart. Go within. Stop looking outside of you to others. I don't care who it is. To your husband, to your grandma. I don't care who it is. To your wife, your kids, your pastor. Stop looking outside of you for what you already have inside of you. The answers to you, the keys, everything you need, your hopes, your dreams, is all inside of you. Don't be swayed by what your bank account look like and don't like. Oh, it must be doing the wrong calling. Don't fall for that okie doke. Go within you. Your heart will tell you. Your heart, your spirit will tell you. And it ain't going to feed your mind no BS. See, that's your mind when you start looking at the circumstances and you feel like this and that, and you feel like that and this, and that's your mind. Take some time out to free your mind and get into your heart. Get into your heart. And then that's going to let you know, well, it's a bumpy road, but you in the right relationship. Well, that's a beautiful. That relationship is so fine, but you go into your heart. Your heart say, yeah, man, you better get up out of that relationship. Because somewhere down the road, he or she going to divorce you and send you to the ringer. Somewhere down the road, they gonna meet somebody else, get to cheating on you, and try to kill you. So don't be listening to your head. Get into your heart. And don't worry about what you look like. You have to be strong enough to get to the other side of the pain. We don't care about what they say. Don't change who you are. Don't create a false self just to get out and hang out and have friends. Everybody want to have friends, but it ain't worth you running away from yourself and killing your own self internally. Just because you want to have a good relationship with your dad, because you want to have a good relationship with your co-workers, you want to have a good relationship with your kids, so you don't even be the real you. That's why it's called self-esteem. You ain't worried about what others talking about. It's called self-esteem. It's esteem of yourself. You don't need them. And trying to change who you are. I mean, please get me right. Everybody in relationships and in society, we all may have to make some adjustments here and there, be flexible in our personalities and some of our mannerisms, different things of that nature. We may even have to be willing to navigate certain kind of situations where, if it wasn't for that being a family member or a job on the line, you wouldn't be doing it. So we might have to be mindful of navigating those kinds of situations. But at the end of the day, like the old school saying, bend, but don't break. Don't give up who you are. We all may have to, in marriage, that's what it's all about. You may have to give a little, take a little, adjust here and make some adjustments there on both sides or whatnot. The same thing with your kids and so forth and so on. But at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, do not give up. Don't change who you are. Because that's a direct path to what's most commonly referred to as hell. If you're not walking and living in your authenticity, you are creating spiritual suicide. And trying to change who you are just to fit in a marriage, fit in with your kids, fit in at the club, fit in at the workplace, wherever. You know what that's like? That's like you looking in a mirror that's broken and shattered, and you're trying to fix and shape your face in a way to where it'll look right in that shattered mirror. That's what that's like. You trying to laugh over here and dress like that over there and hit the blunt and do all this other stuff that's you trying to just, your whole demeanor and everything about you is distorted. And you have created a false self. Because most of those people that you have created that false self in order to hang out with, be in a relationship with, and whatnot, most of them have already committed that suicide of their inner self. And if they looked into a mirror, if they were to look into a mirror and could see, when they look in the mirror, they didn't see the actual physical self. They saw their character. They scared the hell out of them. Oh, they had their nose be probably missing, mouth be on one side, one top bottom of their mouth on one side, the other half on that side. They got humps in their back, eyes bulging out, head swollen. They totally jacked up. If they could look into that mirror and not see their physical self, but see the character of the person that they are, it'll scare the hell out of them. Because it's all ugly. It's an albatross. So don't go through that to fit in with something like that. And if this video is touching home with you, ain't no problem. This is why information comes. This is what it means to be enlightened. So just do what you need to do. It don't have to be no overnight change, but just make an overnight commitment that you're going to keep plugging away at this thing until you get to a point to where you can live your true self. Because not only can you not be real to anybody else, then that means everybody in your life is fake for you. They're not for you. How can they be for you? How can they be for you and you ain't even been the real you? You don't love that man. You done contorted and constructed and deconstructed your whole everything that makes you you in order to get with this guy. So this guy is loving something that ain't even you. He don't love the real you because you never presented the real you. She don't love the real you. You done start smoking blunts and carrying a gun and doing all this way out stuff and dressing and that ain't you. So she done fell in love with somebody that ain't even you. You see what happens when people just create a false self? They ain't real with nobody and ain't nobody real with them. Now you just extrapolate that out and see that going on a global level, particularly here in the Western culture and America in particular. Nobody's willing to stand up and take the lumps and bruises of just being them. And that's sad. But it doesn't have to remain that way. It doesn't have to remain that way. Now, I said I wasn't going to be long-winded on this topic. So I'm gonna move towards closing this video, man. But I cannot overemphasize the importance of you giving a rebirth to the authentic you. One that probably ain't existed since grade school. And do not be hard on yourself because we've been led down this path. We've been guided carefully down this path to where anybody and anything that anybody who dares to be an individual is laughed at, ridiculed, mocked, talked about, just an unimaginable amount of targeting and prejudgment and discrimination against them because they won't sacrifice who they are in order to fit in. And yet we could sit here and see the implications and the ramifications of what happens when you have a society full of people who have all committed the suicide of their true self. So I want to encourage you guys. You are worth it. The real you is worth it. Your personality, your character, your information, your point of views, your laughter, your physical look, it's all needed. We need it. We need it. We got enough people walking around being fake and phony just to fit in. And deep down on the inside of them is 100% hollow. People have sacrificed themselves to fit in with their parents, to fit in with their spouse, to fit in with their kids, their co-workers. I think you're better than that. If you wasn't, you wouldn't even be watching. I think you're better than that. I know you're better than that. I know you're stronger than that. And I know that if you sit down and listen to this video and decide that you need to make some changes, I know you're going to follow through. And it doesn't have to be overnight. The old school saying is that you can't change destination overnight. Which is to say, if you have a 5-year journey, if it's going to take you 5 years to get there, you can't change that. It's going to take you 5 years to get there, but you can change direction overnight. So change direction. See the benefits of changing direction and see the consequences of not changing directions. And then just know from my heart of hearts, we need you. There's gifts, there's talents, there's ideas, there's all kinds of creative ability that you walking in your authenticity can bring into this world that this world so desperately needs. And no one else can do it, just like no one else has your fingerprint. So this is the topic of today's video. And again, I can't overemphasize it. So know that you are worth it. The real you is worth it. And the real you is waiting to be reborn, waiting to be unleashed into society, where society is desperately craving authenticity. Where everyone, seemingly everyone, has decided to go with the in crowd. Will you be different? Will you be you? I think you will. So again, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to end it right there. Visit the website, please. I start each and every video by requesting that all you guys go to the website, particularly if you guys are new to the site. And then I finish each and every video the same, which is by 2 truths that I actually live by in my own personal life. One of them is, I don't know all of y'all, but I do love all of y'all. And when I say all of y'all, that's not just y'all who are watching the video. That's every human being on the planet, because this is that real, true love. The love that assists, that guides, that helps, and the love that disciplines if and when it's appropriate. That's through and through, that's compassionate, that's concerned, that's caring. So I love all of y'all, even though I don't know all of y'all. So that's how I close each and every video. That's my first truth, my additional first truth, because they're equal. My additional first truth is and the mantra in which I live my day-to-day life, and that is, if you're feeling bad, or if I'm feeling bad, anybody feeling bad, the first thing to do is go out and make somebody else feel good, and then you'll feel better. I promise. If you are already feeling good and you go out and make somebody who's feeling bad feel good, then you will go from feeling good to feeling phenomenal. That's just the way this thing works, guys. It really, really is. The powers that be know this, and they have us using this on reverse. So most times when people get mad, the first thing they do is go out and try to project that onto someone else. Don't do that. That's an error. That's a mistake. Go make somebody else feel good. Just try it. Visit the website. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please leave a comment, and subscribe. I am Minister Cepeda, and I love y'all. Thanks, guys.